The best team I've ever worked with was a team of 6 ladies, myself included, working on a project in menstruation care. So we were people who had periods. We understood the pain of periods. We understood the inconvenience of periods. We understood the grossness of periods. We were people who knew what we were talking about. And it felt so good to be working in a team of experts in the field and in our respective disciplines. We had an exceptional product manager who could accommodate every need. You ask her, she will deliver. Our engineers and our designers worked really well together because we created a very collaborative system that respected each other's expertise. It gave us the space, it gave us the time to figure out what we need, what support we wanted, and we delivered every time, all the time. In addition to that, we had a level of camaraderie that was so fun, through the roof. We made a point to check in with each other every morning just to see how we were doing. I had a coworker who would come in every morning with something called a second date update, which was a radio segment that she used to listen to on her way to work. So we never had to tune in, but we will know all about it. We would also sometimes take those online quizzes, the silly ones, like, what kind of cake are you? I'm a tres leches cake. And for my birthday, one of my coworkers baked me that cake. That cultivation of well-being in that team really strengthened the bond that we had with each other. And it created a sense of community that felt safe, welcoming, encouraging of open communication, especially when talking about periods. So when we got disbanded a year later, I was so convinced that we were solid. Just because we were working on different teams, on different projects, it doesn't mean we should stop talking, right? We still work in the same company. But we did, and I was baffled because I wasn't sure why that happened, and I didn't know if there was anything that I could have done about it. So since that team, I worked on different teams, worked on different projects, and I left that job at that company to try a job at a startup. Bad idea. And then I tried a different job at a different startup. Still a bad idea. And then the last full-time job that I had was with an agency that laid me off. And with every team, every job, every work environment, I could not find that magical combination of people to make this dynamic that felt so fun with my other team. And I was sad because I wasn't sure if it was something that I could have changed, I could have done about. In the midst of this job mess, I was offered the opportunity for a different kind of job, a job I really didn't want, and a job I didn't plan for my career. But I was in such a dejected state, I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. And that job was teaching part-time at the University of Cincinnati. I said to myself, try 3 months, 1 semester, and then I can quit. But 3 months turned into 6 months, turned into 9 months, and then 2.5 years later, I'm still teaching there part-time. And I think what keeps me teaching there is the connections that I make with my students. Because every time I work with them on their project, I see the love and the care that they dedicate to the work. And I see how unique and special each and every one of them are in approaching their work and figuring out the world. I had the privilege of teaching the graduating class of 2024. And after teaching that semester, I received a few emails from a few students thanking me for my time with them. One of the emails stood out to me because she said, in all 5 years of school, you are the professor that made me feel the most confident as a designer. And reflecting on that, I could tell the difference between the connections that I've made with my students compared to the connections that I made at work. And to be fair, they're kind of similar because the relationships that I made at work was on the basis of work and really didn't extend beyond that. Comparatively, the connections that I made at school didn't really extend beyond the classroom either, typically. But I think the key difference between the two was the expectation that I set with my students. Because from my very first semester of teaching, I very much emphasized to them how much of a human being I was, and that I come with so many flaws, and that I will make so many mistakes. But then I hope that they feel comfortable and safe to also come as human beings with all your flaws, with a lot of room for many mistakes. And I think setting this expectation was the main difference and the reason why it felt different. Because I was trying to find this magical camaraderie, job after job after job. But in the classroom, I somehow ended up simply encouraging it. So as I move forward in my career, as I figure out the work that I'm doing right now, I like to think that if that's something that I can do, that I can really cultivate and encourage this magic in connections, maybe I can continue to do it in a stranger collective. Thank you.